أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق سيد المرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مختمه الفداء. الحمد لله الذي هداني بهدايته واختصني بملته وسددنا في سبل إحسانه لنسلك بمنه إلى رضوانه، حمدا طيبا مباركا يرضى به عنا. والحمد لله الذي جعل من تلك السبل شهر رمضان المبارك، ثم الصلاة وتم التسليم على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. إخوتي وأخواتي، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله تبارك وتعالى في هذا الشهر المبارك. My dear brothers and sisters, peace be upon you. I enjoin you and myself to have fear and taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in this holy month of Ramadan, and to reap from the fruits of His divine banquet that He has laid before us, and to benefit from the special mercy that He has spread for us and showered us in this holy month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the holy Quran al-Kareem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, He points to a really important principle in the science of upbringing, psychological upbringing. How do you raise a person, a child, a human being? With this regard, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Ahzab, He says that indeed in the Holy Prophet, in Rasulullah, we had a good example for a person who had hope in Allah and believed and believed in the day of Al-Qiyamah, and who remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. Scholars, our Islamic scholars, they have paid a lot of attention to this principle of there being a role model. When you want a human being to have certain qualities, instead of constantly advising him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He shows us that the way He has programmed and designed human nature is that we are inclined to follow and to copy a role model who embodies those things that He wants to tell us to have, those good characteristics, to be truthful, to be trustworthy, etc. That is why the narrations of the Holy Prophet, they say, the narration says that قُلْ لِمَنْ تُصَاحِبْ أَقُلْ لَكَ مَنْ أَنْتَ, that tell me who you're a friend of, who do you befriend, I will tell you who you are. Because whatever qualities that other person will have, they will rub on you. Today, unfortunately, we as Muslims, and especially as Muslim parents in our society, we do not know the attention and the importance of this. Globalization, psychology has shown to the Western world what the importance of a role model is. As a result, billions of dollars are spent in Hollywood and in the West in order to polish certain public figures, their public image, and how they should appeal to especially our children. The rap culture, the pop culture, the culture of vices, muharramat, etc., of shahawat, of desires. And as a result, we find that our children, unfortunately, are being led to that path. But why is a child affected by a role model? What is it in that fitrah, that human nature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put that makes a child inclined to follow somebody? There are three things that can be mentioned. First of all, a human being is inclined to copy. You see someone doing something, you like it, you will be inclined to copy him. You will want to do something. Fulan al-Fulani has bought a Range Rover. You like Range Rovers, so you're gonna want to go and buy something like this. A live example When you have a live example and a role model in front of you, and that role model has certain qualities in it, negative or positive, this is a message to you that for you to have and to have those perfections, quote unquote, to have those things, those characteristics that that particular role model of yours has, it is possible for you as well to attain them. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Holy Prophet to us, He sent him to us who had reached the highest levels of perfection that any human being, any mumkin, any possible existence can have. That means that it is also possible for a human being, for us to reach those levels. It is also possible. Thirdly, it is the matter of attraction. When somebody likes certain things, you will see that Fulan al Fulan, your role model, your example, he has those things. You'll be attracted to them. You'll be attracted to that person, and then you will start to try to be like him. So it is these three factors. Then what is the role of the parents? And unfortunately, again, this is something that I referred to similar was yesterday, that we unfortunately, the scholars, ulama, they are faced with certain problems in the society that come to us in the end. Yani problem take you, and the reasons are there, and then we are faced with the end result. Maulana, now come and solve this. Just like taking our car to an engineer that you have not serviced for 10, 20 years. The problem with our youth, many of our youth, they're not attracted to coming to the mosque. They are not attracted to the ibadat, salat, etc. They are bored by it. Part of it has to do with us. Why? Because the way we raise them, it is not correct. Raising a child, you know that 3:7 narration of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. That he is a king, he is free for the first 7 years to play. For the second 7 years, he's like a servant to you. You have to order him, now do this, now do this, now do this. You have to teach him. And for the final, you have to now trust him and give him responsibility, 14 to 21. He is your vizier, he is your minister. Unfortunately, they come to us and that last 7. Maulana bana maro chokro masjid na tiyato. Maulana maro chokro am karech. Na tumhari chokri am karech. You want us to solve that problem now? You have been sleeping all this time. Jepan karwe karo. And now you come to solve it. The role of the parents is that we have to embody akhlaq. We have to embody the virtues of Islam. Why? We should not only teach them by advice, by the tongue. Do this, don't do that. We have to embody them ourselves. We have to act. Because our children, they look at what we do and they follow us. We don't do something, they will not do anything. They will not do it. The child, whatever he sees the parents do, he will do the same. At home, you are good. You pray namaz. I've seen certain children there. Parents, they pray on time, etc. 3-year-old, 4-year-old children, they come, they put their muhar, they put their turba, they come to pray with their parents sometimes. The child, he is an exposer of secrets. So if you do good, when you go outside, it will show on your children. However, if at home you have a habit of cursing, you have a habit of swearing, of yelling, etc., and the child will have that exact same habit. So the principle is that children, they copy. Now, with regards to our children, that tarbiyah, that starts at a young age, like I said. But what about the Holy Quran? What about the role of a father? With regards to a father, he has that same position, he has that same role as well to play. What example does the Holy Quran give us of an exemplary father? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنْ أَشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ. And that we gave Luqman wisdom, telling him that thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immortalized Luqman with that surah in which he talks about him, surah number 31. Some background information about who Luqman is, and then we can come to talk about him a little bit, to talk about some of the advice that he gave to his son. Luqman al-Hakim, according to certain narrations, he lived approximately 1000 BC. He was a contemporary of Nabi Dawood, salamullahi alayhi. Imam as-Sadiq, salamullahi alayhi, was asked about him, and he said, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He was asked about the wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions concerning Luqman. He says, "Ama wallahi ma utiya Luqman al-hikmata bihasabin wala bimal." Luqman was not given this wisdom neither because of his lineage, nor because of money, nor because of the fact that he had a strong body, or that he had the most brightest and most beautiful of faces. However, he was a person kana qawiyan fi amrillah. That is to say, he was a person who was firm with regards to carrying out the orders and the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was a person who had wara. That is to say, he had taqwa, he had fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He used to carry out ihtiyat, be precaution a lot. Sakitan, he would remain silent, not speak a lot. According to certain narrations, you want wisdom, don't talk a lot. Ochuatka. Said Ali al-Qadi Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim, it is mentioned, the teacher of Sheikh Bajat, it is mentioned concerning him that once one of his students, he saw his mouth. There was something black in his mouth. So wanting to ask him once, and he pulled him aside. Mulana, I want to ask you about that black spot that you have in your mouth. What's the issue? Are you sick? After hesitation, Sayyid al-Qadi told him that this is from a time when I was young. I would put stones in my mouth so that I don't speak about that which is not concern me, about that which is not useful. To this extent our ulama went, and later on he is known to have brought up an entire generation of Arafa, among them Sheikh al-Bahjat. So with regards to this, he was not known to laugh a lot, laugh especially that which is not necessary, not to quickly be angry. He wasn't impulsive. His children, he was known to have married and he had a lot of children. His children, they used to, a lot of them, they passed away at a young age. However, according to this narration, he did not cry for them because he knew that everything in this dunya is fani, it is temporary, it goes to one. Everybody has a soul, and we move to that other abode where we will meet each other. He would not meet two people who would be fighting except that he would try to solve the issue. We have a problem sometimes that we have certain individuals in the society, in our community, that they try, when they see that there is a grudge between two people, they may try to put some oil in it, put some petrol in it. Laugh. This is something really negative. When you see two people, they are quarreling, they're in such a situation with a grudge, you should try to solve this. Luqman al-Hakim, what are some of the advices that he gave to his son? Now, just to mention something, I said that we should not try to just tell our children, do this, do this. There are three kinds of parents, three levels of parenthood. The first is for you to tell your children, do this, do that. But me and you don't act according to them, to the advice. We don't act according to the advice. That's the first level. The second level is for a parent to tell the child, do this is good, this is wajib, this is haram, stay away. And for a person also to abide by that advice. But that advice will be very, very basic in life. Yani that father or that mother may not have a lot of wisdom in life about how things are run. The third level is for you to truly have a parent who is a guide, who is a role model, who is a mentor. He acts according to what he says, and he has a lot of knowledge. This was Luqman al-Hakim. That person that normally in society you feel, man, if I have a problem, let me refer to Fulan. He will not let me go astray. This was Luqman. Luqman, the way he raised his son, these advices that are mentioned in this surah, and also in the narrations, there are many other pieces of advice. You can come to find out that he was something close to a philosopher, and he was truly raising a child like an alim. The first verse that talks about the advice is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. That's my son, do not worship others besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verily, doing shirk, yani considering others as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's equal, this is a grand oppression. I ask a question over here, like we've always been standing and stopping at certain words in the Holy Quran. Why is it that Luqman considers shirk to be dhulm? Why is that? This is because of the fact that, firstly, you have oppressed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because you consider Khaliq al-makhluqat the creator of all creations, of all of existence, this realm and other realms, all other dimensions, this universe, this earth, the depths of the sea and what it has, you have considered him to be equal, ma'adallah, to clay or rocks or dates like the Arabs used to do so, or certain animals, ma'adallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be equal to certain animals. So that is the first level. Secondly, it is shirk, because those who believe, this is dhulm, because of the fact that when there is a community or there are certain people that are calling towards this shirk, calling others towards this path, you have oppressed them. Why? Because of the fact that to believe in shirk, that ideal that you have, that is, ma'adallah, for example, a certain clay, a certain idol, you will come to bear the message and the traits and the characteristics of that idol. You will not have higher horizons in your life. Your mind will not be open. Your message will not be that's important, that high, that lofty in its goals. Thirdly, you have oppressed yourself. You have taken yourself from being a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the King of Kings, and taking yourself to be a servant of an animal or a servant of rocks or clay. Is that your status? Imagine how high. For example, certain people, you go to ask for a job in a company, okay? And they tell you, okay, no problem, we'll grant you the job of an assistant of the CEO of the company. So when you be sitting down with your friends at lunchtime, you say, I am the assistant of the CEO. You are doing, for example, a certain junior job. You have that fakhr, that pride in yourself. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this role. We are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's servant. So to consider ourselves as servants of any others will be dhulm. So he starts with this, that tawheed is the most important thing. Tawheed, it is not only related to belief, it is also related to actions and that which is in the heart. Have you seen Fulan al-Fulan? Have you seen that person who takes his desires as his God? Yani he worships his desires. This is the first level then. We should see, what do I want in life? What is the most important thing? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calling me to? Do those things which I desire contradict what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked me to do? Secondly, he says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya bunayya in taku mithqala khabbatin min khardalin fatakum fi sakhratin aw fi samawati aw fil ardi ya'ti biha Allah. Inna Allah latifun khabir. That, oh my son, if it be anything equal, that is your actions, equal to the weight of a grain of mustard. A mustard seed is very, very small. And even if it may be in a rock or the heavens or the earth, Allah will bring it forth. Allah is the most subtle and well aware. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, each and every single action that we do, we are going to see it. So how does Luqman start? He starts with the first thing, that first principle, which is the principle of Tawheed, belief. After that, he tells him, do you want to act according to the principles and the commands and the obligations of Tawheed? I remind you, the reminder is the hereafter. Take this message in your heart and let it create in you that movement, that motion, that strength to act according to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, that, oh my son, I mentioned this narration of Luqman, and I especially turn out to our youth, that who are those who are not walking on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim. Look at this narration from Luqman al-Hakim. He says that, oh my son, tomorrow you are going to be folded in a sheet of cloth. However much money you have, however advanced your iPhone is, or good or fast or number of cc your car may have, or big your house may be, or important your job may be, tomorrow you're going to be folded in one piece of cloth. Secondly, you will be put down in your grave. Every single person, all of us sitting over here, before us thousands of generations have come and they have passed. And each and every single one of us are going to that grave. Even though shaitan and your nafs may try to tell you, we are not going to die. No, you won't die. You're going to be an exception. Every single person feels that. No, we do not know when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written our ajal, our death times, when we're going to be passing away. So he tells them, remember your death. Thirdly, then you will see all of your actions related to this hadith, to this verse. We will be seeing each and every single one of our actions. So whatever you do in this world, oh my dear brothers and sisters, we should remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the most, He is the all aware. He is the well aware. In another advice, He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya bunayya, aqim as-salata wa'mur bil ma'ruf wanha 'anil munkar. That's, oh my son, pray, perform salat. Aqim as-salat means perform salat in the best of ways. It doesn't say sallu. This is something that we have to notice in the Holy Quran. When He says aqim as-salat, pray prayer according to all of its conditions in the best, most perfect way possible. And do amr bil ma'ruf and nahi 'anil munkar. With this, after belief, Luqman starts with the first thing and the most important thing, the foundation of religion, which is salat. That thing which has a direct connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not start with other things related to the society. He doesn't tell him, do sadaqah, give sadaqah. He does not tell him, for example, give khums. He does not tell him, for example, do good to other people, etc. No. He starts with salat. That thing which has a direct connection to him. Luqman al-Hakim, in one of the narrations, it's a really, really nice narration. He tells his son that, oh my son, kukrane tarakatati namazi karwa wadare rajani de. Don't let the rooster be more preserving of its prayers than you. Because the rooster gets up during the times of salawat and it gives adhan. According to certain narrations, it says, udhkuru, remember. And during the time of sahar, those few couple of hours before the time of dawn, pre-dawn, it also gets up while you are asleep. So don't let that animal be more preserving, more guarding of its salat than you. I request, my dear brothers and sisters, for us to remember that salat is the most important thing, to look at these pieces of advice of Luqman al-Hakim. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا بحمده وجعلنا من أهله لنكون لإحسانه من الشاكرين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل عليه صلاة دائمة مباركة وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. My dear brothers and sisters, أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله تبارك وتعالى. I enjoin you and myself to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was a masala that we talked about during one of these days after Salat al-Asr, and one of the mu'mineen requested that it be repeated, considering reciting salawat while a person sits. Now this applies to all, because an elderly person may pray salat while they sit, but even young people, when we are on the plane, we also are afflicted with this particular fatwa. That is to say, how can we pray? So first of all, let us start with the basic qaida, with the basic ruling. That is to say that salat has to be prayed in its normal form. And that part of salat which becomes hard for you, difficult for you, either due to health-related reasons or any other reason, due to haraj, due to a certain unbearable difficulty, if you are not able to do one particular action, for example, like sujood, maybe you have done an operation in your legs, that does not mean that the entire salat has to be changed in that way. So for instance, if you are able to pray while standing and are able to do ruku'ah, but you only have a problem with sujood, you should recite salat in that way. That does not mean that khalas, basically, just sit down and take things lightly, I take things smoothly. No, that's not the way. Secondly, let us say that you are not able to stand truly as you recite salat, and you truly have a problem in your legs, you have a health issue. In this situation, our Maraja, especially Agha Sistani, he says that first of all, you have to recite Takbiratul Ihram where possible. Takbiratul Ihram as you stand, because there are two qiyams in Salat that are wajib. The qiyam during Takbiratul Ihram and the second qiyam, which is known as Al Qiyam Al Muttasil Bil Ruku'. That is to say, the qiyam that comes before ruku'. That comes before ruku', not after ruku'. The qiyam that comes before ruku'. So, a person says Takbiratul Ihram, let's say the qira'ah goes on, especially in Juma Salat, they have problems in their legs. So the qira'ah is recited as they sit, then they should stand back up if possible, do Allahu Akbar and then go to ruku'. That takbir, at the second takbir, yani before ruku' has to be said while a person is standing. While a person is on the plane, and this, all of us are afflicted with this. First of all, you have to look at the size of the plane. There are certain planes which are extremely small, especially those short haul planes, where you don't find any space for you to pray. SubhanAllah, the drinks that they serve, the line to the washroom is maybe from the beginning of the toilet till the end. It's impossible for you to find a place to pray. I've seen this a lot. Type. In this situation, what do? The Maraja, they say, do Takbirat al-Ihram as you stand. Of course, this is all with possibility. Do Takbirat al-Ihram as you stand, and then sit and pray. If you're able to get back up for that qiyam al-muttasil bil ruku', that qiyam before ruku', again do so and then go to your ruku', etc. as you sit. However, if you're not able to do it for that second thing, maybe it is extremely difficult for you. There is an unbearable difficulty, and you're drawing too much attention. People start to ogle like you, and etc. I mean, you find it's too difficult for you to bear. Okay. In that situation, at least the first takbir, say it as you stand and then continue. If even that is difficult for you, then as you sit. Now, one thing to point out is the fact that when you sit and do ruku', of course, your ruku' should be proper, and you should bend down, your hands on your knees. Secondly, with regards to sujood, if you are able to put your remaining masajid, and your knees will not be on the floor, but your toes, and you should take off your shoes, of course. But as you do sujood, your toes should be touching the ground. Okay, the tip of your toes. In addition to your hands, you have to put them somewhere. Now, if you find that that tray is a little bit too hard for you to go down, you can put one hand and bring your sajda, your sujood, or your sajda or your turba to your head. And this way, the prayers are done. But in no case, in no scenario does namaz become are you excused from not praying? You must pray. Unfortunately, I've seen many youth bana bo hajj namaz kay nam pari shagis bas mu kidaw khuda ghafur rahim kon ki dutam. Who said that? No, you have to pray as possible. You have to pray. If we go to just a few minutes to talk about the situation of the world right now, I just read today that in Austria they have officially announced a ban in primary schools after having enforced it in kindergartens, that hijab for Muslim girls now until the age of 10 in primary schools is not permissible, and they have enforced this. Of course, it's so notable to consider that they have said that those articles of faith that cover the entire head, those are considering which we have problems. However, those which do not cover the entire head, for example, the Jewish cap, there is no problem in that. That does not cover. And it says as if they are targeting Muslims exactly. This has been imposed after the right-wing coalition has taken power. This blatant discrimination of the rights of a minority of citizens. I ask, how does this conform with human rights? How does this conform with the message of democracy that they try to spread around, and that they are the countries of rights, that people have their rights to practice their faith according to what they want? Are we living in the Stone Age? Are we living in the Dark Ages where people are enforced to either do something or not do something? People have that freedom. And the good thing to notice is that the Islamic religious community in Austria is going to challenge this. This is for awareness for our people to know, for people to have this in mind, because this trend has also spread to a certain portion, to a certain extent, in France, and in other countries in the European Union as well. Secondly, with regards to the issue of Iran that all mu'mineen have come to see, that currently the US has been trying to intimidate Iran a lot, especially after pulling out from an agreement that the US and five other countries they signed, and they did not honor it. They did not honor it, something that was signed by a US administration, and they just pulled out of it singularly, individually, and in addition to that, they are being forcing and intimidating even the European Union to not apply the articles of this agreement. As a result, Iran threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz until this issue was resolved. As soon as they did that, even though they have not started to apply it, the US has threatened, and I believe it has also started to send one of its biggest flight carriers, the Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. With this regard, people have come to see that it seems that the US administration is looking to start a war with Iran. But I would think that this war would not be good for the health of the US, because of the fact that Iran is not any small band of groups that they can send some drones to, like they have done in Yemen and other parts, whereby they fire, for example, missiles, and they try to kill, or they have killed and murdered many of, for example, the popular forces, the Hashd al-Shabi in Iraq, when they were trying to truly remove Daesh and ISIS from all of the Iraqi territory. When they reached Al-Furat, the US air forces, they started to fire at them that no, this is where you're allowed to. Now we'll keep them safe. Iran is not the same. Iran is a military country which is extremely strong, which has a military agenda. The people are also the same. And the people, even though that some people may think that they're not united, when it comes to the defense of their country and their entity, they are united. I turn to our own country. Before turning to our own country, one final wound in the Muslim Ummah is the wound of Yemen that has been continuing to bleed for so many years right now, for 4 years, under the continuous Saudi onslaught. What do they want to achieve? Nobody knows. They just want to try to humiliate this poor country that wants to stand by its own honor. This is nothing related to Muslim principles, to the mercy of Shahr Ramadan of Islam. I turn to our own country. If there is any sense left, considering the issue of blindly supporting the Saudis in continuously selling arms to them in huge numbers and in huge sums, that this is going to taint the Tory party, the conservatives, in blindly supporting the ISIS ideology spreading, or the Wahhabi ideology spreading Saudi Arabia, just like the Iraq war tainted the image of one of our previous prime ministers. The dialogue with Iran is in the interests of all countries of the international community. We do not need more wars. We should solve our own issue of Brexit, which unfortunately they have not been able to do so properly. 3 times has the deal been voted in our parliament and in the Commons. They should try to focus on a constructive dialogue between all different parties, so that we, as British citizens, can benefit from whatever the outcome of this issue is going to be. Finally, to mention the issue of Yawm al-Quds, that inshallah is going to be on the Sunday, 2nd of June at 3 p.m., which is going to be near the Home Office. At 3 p.m. near the Home Office, I encourage my dear brothers and sisters to participate in this. It's going to be on a Sunday, it's not going to be on a weekday. Those of us who are able to attend, it is very important to show help and to show support for the mustadafin and the oppressed of the Muslim Ummah, because Palestine and Yawm al-Quds and Quds, it represents all of these issues that I talked about. The fact that the Muslims, or there are certain people in the world who are oppressed. We are standing by the weak. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد صلاة دائمة مباركة. اللهم وصل وسلم على وصيه علي بن أبي طالب أمير المؤمنين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وصل على بضعته الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. وصل على سبطيه الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. اللهم وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم وصل على الآية العظمى والحجة الكبرى نور الأبصار نجاة العابدين أمل الأنبياء المهدي المنتظر أرواحنا لتراب مختم الفداء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات تابعا اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. صلى الله على محمد.